Rurouni Kenshin 最終章 The Beginning.
Rurouni Kenshin, The Beginning. This is the last movie, probably the last movie in the whole Rurouni Kenshin series of movies, which I really enjoy. And this one I was actually really hyped about because this one is not based on the original Rurouni Kenshin series. Which is PG-13. This is based on Rurouni Kenshin Trust and Betrayal. This was kind of a movie when I watched it, but later I got to know this was a OVA series, which was most definitely not PG-13. That was hard R.
おそらく賊は須藤君の一の太刀を流し
出たとこ勝負というやつですよ。
何者でしょう。すごきものだ。おそらく。
あなたは本当に血の雨を降らせるのですね。
So yeah, I was really hyped about this movie and also kind of worried about this movie because this movie has to deal with Rurouni Kenshin's very bloody past that you have only heard about up until this point on the previous 4 movies, where he doesn't really kill anyone, where he keeps saying that he is done with the killing.
I'm not that guy anymore.
And those movies, they don't really have a lot of blood in those movies. They don't really show you any violent way he kills people or anyone else kills people. But that's why I was kind of worried about this movie, because I knew that the source material had a lot of blood. They had a lot of violence. It was based on a period that was based on violence. So I was kind of expecting this movie to be exactly like the other movies, which were fucking amazing, all of them. If you haven't seen my previous review of the Rurouni Kenshin movies, I'm just gonna say it here. All the 4 movies, amazing. This has been the best anime to movie adaptation out of anything that has ever came out from Hollywood, from Japan, anywhere. The Rurouni Kenshin series is the best, hands down. So yeah, this time this movie starts off by showing you how our boy Rurouni Kenshin was John Wick. And boy, did this movie make me fucking happy. This movie just starts 2 minutes into the movie. Rurouni Kenshin, my boy, is surrounded by 10 to 15 people who are just about to kill him. 2 minutes. Room full of people, dead. Yep, and there's a lot of blood, and it's fucking amazing. I know I must sound like a psychopath talking about blood and violence like this, but I fucking love blood and violence in movies. And I love it even more when it's done right. Like I said, the previous 4 movies didn't have as much blood that this movie did, because those 4 movies, they were based on a TV series that is PG-13, and they did it exactly right. They went serious when they needed to be serious. They showed action like it was straight out of animation, which is fucking difficult to do. There were cinematographies which were fucking beautiful, like you are not even watching something real, like you're watching a painting or something. And this movie has that too. But this movie is just much darker, as it should be, because this movie is not based on something that PG-13, because this movie is based on a guy who is supposed to be an assassin. This is a story about a guy who you send when no one else in the entire country can do something. You send that one person. He is John Wick of Japan. What more can I tell you to get on this movie? So after a while, this movie kind of slows down because it has to. Because it has to show you the story of Rurouni Kenshin, how he became the good person, how he became the person who kills 10 people in 10 seconds to a guy who never killed anyone again. And yeah, so it's of course a love story. But during that love story, there's a lot of scenes that are actually really dark and really very emotional. Rurouni Kenshin is not a stupid guy. He knows what he is fighting for. He has a belief and that's why he goes on killing, because he has a goal. The OVA series actually shows why Rurouni Kenshin has a lot of hate toward the shoguns. This movie does not do that. The love story of this movie is actually really great. I mean, yeah, sure, there's a lot of movies that you may have seen that has a similar kind of plot in 2021, but you gotta understand this is based on something that came out back in the 1990s, but it's still such an amazing story that it still feels unique. There's still so much emotion and so much sadness in this movie that it really makes you feel for Rurouni and the other character that he is in love with. They show you the tragic secrets behind these scars. If you wanted to know how he got his scars, it's clear in this movie. They show it all. But when I say this movie takes a backseat on the drama, not for long though. This movie has a lot of action, maybe not as much as the previous ones, maybe not as much as bombastic as the previous ones, because this is based more on Rurouni Kenshin going on assassination missions and trying to win a war, but there is still some amazing action sequences that are just mind-blowing, that look like they're straight out of anime and much bloodier. And the cinematography of this movie is, as always, amazing. The music of this movie, as always, amazing. I just appreciate this so much because the makers of these movies, like, none of the 5 movies are bad. Not one. There's not one movie in the 5 movie series that is bad, and that is an amazing achievement. The way they took care of this series, of the legacy of the original series, I just have huge respect that I have to give them. I mean, it has been an amazing series. I really hope that they get the recognition for this, for making such amazing movies and in such an amazing way. There is no movie out there which completely captured the feeling of anime except the Rurouni Kenshin series. I mean, in the other movies, yeah, you knew Rurouni Kenshin is a badass, was a badass. In this movie, whew, if you see my boy Rurouni Kenshin coming for you, you better hope you can run. I mean, because he can run too. He can run really, really fast. He can do one run and kill 3 people in like 1 second. And he does that in the movie, which is fucking unbelievable. So yeah, if my boy is after you, chances are you're dead, even before you thought of it. To me, this brings back a lot of nostalgia, but I still try to look at this movie as something new, as something that is for 2021. The story of this movie is still pretty fucking amazing. The cinematography of this movie is amazing. The music of this movie is amazing. The action sequences are amazing. But if I'm gonna compare it to all the previous 4 movies that came out, is this movie the best of the bunch? Probably not. No, maybe not the best out of the 5, but not the worst either. This is a perfect origin story to Rurouni Kenshin. If you wanted to know how he became Rurouni Kenshin, if you wanted to know how badass of an assassin he was back in the day, this is that movie. And it's not a movie for the sake of being a movie. It's a great movie made with a lot of care. So yeah, if you have watched any of the Rurouni Kenshin movies, this is a high recommendation. If you haven't watched any of the Rurouni Kenshin movies, and I can say that this movie is a very standalone movie. This is an origin story. You can either watch it in the beginning of watching your Rurouni Kenshin series or at the very last, because this movie came out in the very last, but you can still watch this as the first movie of the series. So yeah, I'm gonna give this movie a solid 8 because it was fucking great. Hey, thank you all so much as always for watching. If you like the video, you know what to do. Hit the like and the subscribe, and I will see you on the next video.